Transference by Ashley Jamieson. 20 minutes now, I think to myself as I look up at the clock on the wall across from me. My feet are tapping incessantly at the ground and I'm fidgeting with a loose thread from my cardigan. My attention is bouncing between checking the time and staring at the heavy blue door my husband vanished through now 21 minutes ago. My gaze flickers up to the signage above. Transference. It was the best choice, right? We'd spent over a month going back and forth, assessing our options, weighing the pros and cons. This was the only solution to our financial troubles that made any sense. We aren't the only ones who made this decision. Even looking around the waiting room now, there are at least a dozen families packed into the small space, each waiting their turns to enter the next phase in human evolution. But still, I'm nervous. The adverts make it look like paradise, but there's that niggling feeling in the back of my head that it's all too good to be true. A virtual eternity of peace and happiness for the price of a new car? Not that I could afford a new car, but after selling our old beat-up runner and pretty much everything else we owned, we had enough. Barely. My train of thought is interrupted when I see movement through the small window in front of me, and two transfer techs emerge from the door. They're both smiling widely. One is carrying a large case with my husband's name stamped across the front. The tech holding the case sits on the empty bench across from me, and the other reaches out his hand to shake mine.
Mrs. Calhoun, my name is Dr. Samuel Whitlaw. I'm the technician who'll be leading up your transference today. I believe you met my colleague earlier.
He gestures toward the other technician, who is now sitting with the case open in her lap and typing something on the keyboard held within. She raises her head and smiles in acknowledgement. Yes, I say. Dr. Frost, wasn't it? Yes, that's right, she replies. She finishes typing away and I hear a string of light orchestral music play as she turns the case so I can see what's inside. There's someone who'd like to say hello to you. Inside the case is what looks like a very powerful laptop. The screen is showing a large, comfortable room with a king-sized bed against the back wall. It's exactly as promised. Looking around the room, I can see photographs and keepsakes from our old, rented flat. Books on shelves that we'd mentioned loving, equipment for activities we said we'd enjoyed. Everything scanned and uploaded into this perfect digital world, just waiting for us to arrive. I look back to the bed and feel hot tears brim and start to roll down my cheeks. Michael? I manage to squeak out. A large, handsome man stirs atop the duvet. Michael, I say again, can you hear me? The man stretches his arms above his head and lets out a long, contented yawn before opening his eyes and pulling himself to a sitting position at the foot of the bed. I can see his face clearly now. It's him. Michael, I say for a third time. It's me. Can you hear me? This time he looks up to stare ahead of him, and he smiles when he looks directly at me. Can he see me? I ask Dr. Frost. Yes, indeed, she says, still smiling. He has a nice, big 75-inch screen in the room with him, completely customizable to user preference, of course. Any screen can be used as a call portal to speak to loved ones or friends out here in the physical world. Michael stands, wobbling a little before catching his balance and chuckling to himself. He looks at his hands, then down at his body. He pats his chest, then runs his hands down his torso and back up each opposing arm, pulling himself into a hug and beaming. It worked, he says quietly to himself, now starting to gently cry too. He walks a little closer to the screen and stares up at me. Babe, it worked. How do you feel? Amazing, he says, giddily. Genuinely, I feel absolutely 110% top of this world. Incredible. He laughs at that. He's always had a flair for the dramatic, but it's been a while since I've seen him so excited. After his diagnosis, he changed. Melanoma. Treatable, but not covered by our insurance. We couldn't afford it even if it was the only bill we had. He'd basically been handed a death sentence. News like that would shake anyone, but it was still so uncanny seeing it happen to him. He put on a brave face, but there was so much pain and fear behind that mask he wore for the benefit of those around him. Seeing him smile with sincerity and warmth forces me to choke back more tears. You think we've made the right call then? Going through with this? I ask. But I already know the answer. Seeing him this happy melts away any remaining doubts I have. Silences that feeling in the base of my skull. Aye, he says. We've made the right call. Now, come on, it's your turn. I'm getting lonely already. I need a wee cuddle. I'll be there soon. I love you. Love you too. Dr. Frost turns the laptop back to face her and powers it off, closing the lid when she's done. Okay, Mrs. Calhoun, if you're ready, we can take you through now and get you all set up. Perfect, I say, standing to follow the technicians who guide me toward that same door they came from, the door to the transference ward. After a few minutes of navigating corridors, we come to another open space with several numbered rooms lining the far wall. A man in pale green scrubs walks over as we enter and hands Dr. Whitlaw a tablet. They're ready for Mrs. Calhoun in room 7, he informs him. Dr. Whitlaw thanks the man and guides me over toward the room, pausing outside to finish scrolling the information on the tablet. He goes through a list of questions, confirming the admin of it all. Banking information transferred over to a digital user, will finalised, legal status updated, etc. I confirm everything and give my final consent, then he ushers me through. I pause after entering and look around nervously. In the centre of the room is a surgical chair with straps attached to the head, arm and leg rests. Above the chair is a large, intimidating scanner with wires pouring out the top of it and connecting to several computers and servers crammed neatly around the perimeter of the small room. The device itself reminding me of those hood dryers you see at salons. I feel a little claustrophobic at the sight, but press on. A temporary discomfort for an eternity of happiness. Well worth it. There are 2 other technicians in the room. One checking connections and ticking items off a checklist on her tablet, and the other standing at a desk, printing stenciled letters onto a case like the one they'd brought Michael out on. This one read my name. Dr. Whitlaw enters and closes the door behind him.
So, Mrs. Calhoun, just to give you a quick rundown of what's going to happen, you'll be strapped to the chair to ensure you keep still during the scan. It's extremely important you don't move so we can get all those little neural pathways and synaptic connections right, all the things that make up your consciousness. You'll be given a light sedative to aid with this. When we're ready to start, we'll count you down, and when we reach 3, we want you to squeeze your eyes shut for us, nice and tight, and wait for 0. Then, when you open them, you'll be in your new home. How does that sound?
Insane, I say, but exciting.
You have any plans for what you're going to do when you get there?
Asks the tech now sitting by the case. I'm not sure. Maybe a wee walk? Take it all in, I reply.
There's some good ones included in your package. I recommend the GR20. They just released a condensed version last month that takes you through all the major vistas in a couple of hours. I did it in VR last week.
Yep, and he won't shut up about it, the other tech, who had now finished her checklist, says. That gets a polite chuckle from the others. If you'll just take a seat here, we'll get you set up, says Dr. Frost. She moves over beside the chair and beckons for me to sit. I walk over nervously and take a seat. She instructs me to slip my arms and feet through the loops of the straps and tightens them so I can no longer move freely. She secures another around my body, locking me in place. The feeling of claustrophobia builds. Is there anything else you'd recommend I do when I get in there? I say, trying desperately to distract myself from the rising sense of panic taking over. I don't like feeling restricted. The same tech who offered the first suggestion catches this and stands to approach. You like movies? He asks. I nod my head in response. Well, there's a home cinema in your new place. Lot of great options, you'll see. You can see a full map of your house when you get in there. You're allowed to add rooms and change about the layout. You'll have a blast, trust. I'm going to insert the cannula now, says Dr. Frost. Sharp scratch. I feel the needle pierce my flesh and I wince at the pain. The realness of the situation is starting to dawn on me now, but before I can worry, the cool injection of the sedative fills my vein, distracting me from my coming spiral. I see the first tech remove what looks like a storage device from the case with my name on it and walk it over to a terminal beside the chair. He plugs it into a port and types something onto the connected keyboard.
All good on this side, boss. Fantastic, replies Dr. Whitlaw. Okay, Mrs. Calhoun, I'm going to lower the scanner in a minute. It's going to track your brain activity to get a snapshot of your consciousness, and once that's been established, our lovely assistants here are going to begin the data transfer, basically taking you from your meat computer and pouring you into a mechanical one. You won't feel a thing. It'll be like blinking. It's best to make sure your eyes are closed when this happens, though, or it might make you feel a little dizzy on the other side. Understand?
I nod. He squeezes my hand and smiles, then reaches behind me to secure my head in place with one final strap. Once I'm completely held in place, he pulls the scanner down over my head. Inside is a black glass ring, slightly translucent, with what looks like several blinking lights from the extensive recording equipment hidden behind the glass. Like a big CCTV camera wrapping around the circumference of the interior of the machine.
Everyone ready?
I hear him say. All the other techs speak their affirmation.
Good. Okay, Mrs. Calhoun, I'm going to start the countdown now. Remember, eyes closed by 3, open after 0.
He starts counting down from 10 and I grip the armrests tightly in anticipation. The scanner begins making a loud noise like an MRI, and the vague shapes behind the ring of black glass spin around my head. I focus on my breathing, in on the even numbers and out on the odds. It helps steady me. When Dr. Whitlaw reaches 3, I do as instructed and close my eyes.
2, 1.
I smile, scared but ready for this next chapter of our lives. The noise of the scanner cuts out abruptly and the room grows quiet.
0.
I hesitate for a second. I feel the same. Only listless. The sedative, whatever it was, all but paralyzing me. If my head wasn't secured, I'm sure it would flop over. I forced my eyes open to confirm my suspicion. It hadn't worked. The scanner still hangs over my head, and I am still strapped down to the chair. I try to speak, but the words don't reach my mouth. It doesn't matter, I suppose. They'll realize when they lift this thing off me. How are we looking? I hear Dr. Frost ask. Despite myself, I try to answer her, but again, no sound escapes me, save for maybe a quiet, stressed moan.
Scan successful.
One of the other techs replies.
Extracting now.
Successful, No. How can it be successful? I'm still here. What begins as confusion doesn't take long to work its way into panic as I struggle against the sedative to speak. Nothing. My eyes lazily fall to the floor. I can just about make out shoes to my left at the terminal where the tech inserted the storage device. He walks out of my limited field of view and back toward what I believe to be the case he was sitting at before. I feel another scratch in my arm as the IV is removed by, I assume, Dr. Frost. I try to wiggle my fingers to get her attention, but it's no use. My body isn't in my control. We have a clean scan here, I hear someone say. The claustrophobia is at its apex now, but thankfully, as I threaten to boil over, the scanner is lifted, and I feel its weight vanish with it. Dr. Frost is standing at my side, fiddling with the equipment connected to it. I'm still locked in place, but I will her to look at me, to meet my eyes, to convey my alarm. It doesn't work. In fact, glancing around the room, I see none of the others are paying me any attention at all. The same tech as before is sitting at my case with Whitlaw hovering over his shoulder. The other tech sits just down from them at another screen. I see the storage device plugged into her terminal now. Sim's loading up, she says.
Text-to-speech on?
Asks Whitlaw. It is now.
Good.
He replies.
Mrs. Calhoun, can you hear me?
For a brief second, my concern eases. Has he seen my eyes open? Does he know the transfer didn't work? That moment of relief is immediately quashed, however, when I hear the answer he receives. It is stilted, inhuman, but unmistakably me.
Hello, Dr. Whitlaw. Where? I can't see. Where am I? Has it worked? Where am I? Can't see. Hello? Are you? I can't. Dr. Whitlaw?
Okay, good. Shut it down. Restore from backup and load it into her avatar.
Whitlaw instructs. His tone is cold, not friendly or smiling anymore. Clinical. Detached. Dr. Frost finishes what she was doing and begins loosening my restraints. It makes no difference. My body is slumped and unable to move. Done, the tech from before says. She ejects the storage device from her terminal and hands it to her colleague. He plugs it into the case and powers it on. I hear a pleasant musical sequence play from its speakers as the program launches. The same one I'd heard in the waiting room before. It's hard to make out from here, but the screen looks to be displaying the same setting as before. The same room, the same bed.
Mrs. Calhoun,
Whitlaw asks again.
can you hear me?
A figure on the bed seems to react gently, sitting up and staring, much like Michael had earlier. Dr. Whitlaw? She asks. The voice is no longer monotone or broken, but it's still my own. Is that you? Where's Michael?
He'll be along shortly. We just need to ask you a few questions first, okay?
She seems to nod in agreement.
First, how do you feel? Any dizziness, confusion, things of that nature?
His friendly demeanour is back, along with that smile. No, I feel fine. It feels so real. She seems so elated, so pleased with her situation.
What's the last thing you remember?
Whitlaw asks. You counting down? I closed my eyes, then when I opened them, I was here.
Continuity of consciousness intact,
Remarks the tech sitting at the case.
Good.
Says Whitlaw.
Mrs. Calhoun, are you able to think clearly? Are you having any immediate trouble recalling anything, or feelings of gaps in your memory?
I don't think so. This continues back and forth for a bit. Questions and answers, all seemingly normal things to ask someone in this situation. About her health, her experience, sensation, etc. While it's all happening, my own feelings of fear, helplessness, and abject panic swirl in my sedated brain.
Looks like we have a successful transfer,
Whitlaw says, merrily. It turns my stomach. You're wrong. I'm still here. Great. Fake me says. What now?
Terminate the test sim. Prep to restore from first scan,
Whitlaw says, back in his deadpan, uninterested tone.
Yes, sirree,
the tech replies. He keys something in and the screen cuts out. Lines of code populate the monitor, and he closes the case.
All good to go.
He stands and passes the case to Frost, who takes it and moves to leave the room.
Good work, team,
Whitlaw says.
Set up for the next one. We'll be back in 10.
We all done with this one? One of the techs asks.
We are,
replies Whitlaw.
Dispatch the analog and send it for recycling.
No. They nod in unison as Whitlaw and Frost exit. I try to fight the sedative again, push myself to move, but I can't. It's hopeless. Inside my head, I am screaming, but nothing escapes. The friendly tech from before grabs something from a medical cart by my chair and moves behind me. His eyes meet mine for a split second as he passes by, but his face is expressionless. I strain to move, but I can't. Not a muscle. My body is frozen in place. Powerless, paralyzed, silent screams of desperation bounce off the walls of my mind. Please, oh God, please, no. Someone help me. I feel the subtle warmth of tears forming and spilling down my face. A strong hand grips my shoulder, but it lends no comfort as I hear a quick intake of breath followed immediately by a sharp. Dr. Frost sits in the waiting room with the case open on her lap facing away from her. Whitlaw stands beside her. Across from them, a woman and her child sit, anxiously watching the screen before them. On that screen, a woman rises from a large, comfortable-looking bed and walks toward them, beaming with joy. "Hey, kiddo," she says to the kid, her eyes fluttering between him and her wife. "You be a big, brave boy for Mommy, and go with the nice doctors."